focus, and he's here at the perfect time of the year. Give me a round of applause here for Steve Palazzolo of PFF, my old buddy. How we doing?
Great. Good to be here.
Yeah, we love that you're here because you released a mock draft, right? So we want to take a look quickly at your top 10. It's your final mock draft leading into the draft. Starts in Philly on Thursday. It's your 7th edition?
Oh, yeah, we started back in December.
Okay.
We got a 7.0.
So you want to get into this, right? Steve Smith's really eyeing this thing up and down. So this is your 1 through 6. Moving on to your
5 defensive players.
Okay. So Marshawn Lattimore is interesting there. But before we even dive into the mock draft, we have this really interesting thing, Peter. We get to see the football guru, the number cruncher. Yeah, Steve versus Steve, and then we have Steve.
So I found this fascinating, Kay, because I talk to these general managers, and they all use analytics to a point, right? But they also use the eye test, and they have their old school scouts, almost a Moneyball situation. And then we've got the player standpoint and the ex-player standpoint. And
I'm an ex-player?
And, well, let's talk about in mornings when a coach or someone brings up the analytics. What's your response when someone says, yeah, but the PFF guys said this about your game tape?
They don't say PFF. Every team has analytics guys. How many? Nobody knows.
Yeah.
They won't say that. They all rely on numbers. But, you know, numbers do lie when you cannot adjust or measure a guy's will, desire, and his heart. You could say a guy is, you know, say a guy who's 5'7" will never dunk a basketball for the Atlanta Falcons named Spud Webb.
Right.
And next thing you know, he's in a slam dunk contest.
He's a champion.
But analytics say that's impossible. He'll never play. Muggsy Bowl, he'll never be this, he'll never be that. I have to first off say, nickel for the insult, I thought you were a dweeb.
Wow.
Because when I say
we're football guys.
no, I'm just saying,
read
this
the
guy, I
film.
thought it was a guy with like glasses, kind of just sitting in the hole, and then you come out here and I'm like, wow, this guy's put together.
I'm just the bodyguard at PFF. That's why they sent me out.
And so, but I wanted to say that because as players, as football players, just like people view athletes as they have a certain
big dumb jocks.
Yes,
Yeah.
certain stigma, same thing. So
Yeah.
I wanted to just say that. But
No, you're right.
honestly, there are a ton of analytics guys that give great information, but you can't base win category and loss category based on what analytics say, because analytics would have said that the Atlanta Falcons would have won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With in the third quarter with 3:28 left in the game, there was no way in Hades they were going to lose that game. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, well, they had Tom Brady on the other side, and analytics might also say, you've got the greatest quarterback of all time. Maybe there's
I'm talking
there's
about
a shot.
in the game. I'm not talking
In
about
real time.
before. I'm
Right.
talking
Okay,
about real time.
Let him defend himself, because I also think there is a place for the analytics.
We just add context to it,
Yeah.
you know, and you have to know how to use the numbers. It's just added context to the whole thing. You obviously played much bigger than your height. We always graded you pretty well because you produced on the field, and that's what we do. We're football guys that do that at PFF, grading what you do on the field. So you always stood out in our grades. Not to suck up at all.
Listen,
I didn't really look at it like to say I don't believe in it. It's just one of those things. Do I look at my PFF grade or do I go watch film? I watch film. I create my opinion of my opponent or the defense based on what I see and what I know, not based on what the analytics, because does the analytics also say, you know, say a guy has 10 targets, but 3 of them were balls just thrown away at the dirt towards him, or a ball sailed over. So he's
graded lower because
where we can help.
Yes.
We can tell you, which corner may struggle with inside releases, might struggle against slants, might struggle on go routes, and help your film study a little bit. That's how we're actually infiltrating the NFL.
Because what's your watching film process compared to like the players? What would you offer watching film that maybe you can see that they can't?
So we just grade every player on every play and collect all sorts of data on it. And that's why 27 NFL teams subscribe to our stuff, because they can go back over the years and say, let's see every time Steve Smith ran a post, let's see who it was against, let's dive into that. And then your coaches have this information, and the better coaches that are starting to use it can say, hey, Steve, check out this guy. Here's his weakness, and here are all the clips that show it, because all of our data is in your video system.
It's information and how you use it, and it's to support you as a player. Did you, on Monday mornings, look at your grades? How important was PFF to you? Fantasy football, I use it all the time. It's great support, and it's all how I use that information, right?
Listen, playing the sport since I was 8 years old, and then going to high school, and then graduating 18, then I got to the league at 21. Analytics wasn't a big part of our game. So in 2003, when I got drafted, it was about watching film, taking what I see, applying it, and then going out there basically trying to torch the DB in front of me. as I got older, I realized that there's some analytics, there's some numbers that are completely applicable to the game.
Yes.
And then there's some that are almost so obvious they need not be said. And then there's ones that I think they're just thrown out there because people want to sound smart. Now, in agreement with Steve, because we understand perception, it rules the world. So perception of athletes, big dumb guys walk around, duh, pass me the ball. But then when we think of number crunchers, we think of guys sitting in a cubicle trying to break down numbers. But I feel like Kay, you're saying, nowadays, it's 2017. So there's a sweet blend between watching what you see on film, watching the numbers, and then combining that and finding exactly what you can do to attack your opponent.
27 teams subscribe to PFF to look at stuff. I want to look at your mock draft. It's your 7th edition. Ask you a couple of questions of it because it's why you're here. So let's take a look. And you having Marshawn Lattimore at number 2. You also have 3 quarterbacks, I think, in your top 10.
In the top 12, yeah.
In your top 12. So what went into that?
Well, nobody wants to make that second pick. Nobody knows where the 49ers are going to go. I just love Marshawn Lattimore as a corner. Graded really well for us. Think he can play press, can play off. So I just like that fit for their new scheme.
I love Lattimore.
But they need to trade. Everybody wants San Francisco to trade down. And then the quarterbacks, they're all over the place. I feel like there's so many question marks, but they're all talented. They can all, they can all succeed at the next level in the right situation. So we had Mitchell Trubisky going at 6 to the Jets, Deshaun Watson to the Bills, and then Patrick Mahomes at 12 to the Browns.
Really quickly, we got wide receivers here. Who's your top wide receiver based on PFF in this draft?
In this draft, it's Corey Davis. Unbelievable route runner, great
Western
size, 8.1 yards after the catch in his entire career at Western Michigan.
Route runner is key.
Absolutely. You got to get open, right?
Yeah.
Reminds you of T.O.
He looks like T.O. Runs just like him.
Yeah.
Longest.
Check out
Strong stride.
Steve Palazzolo's mock draft 7.0 over at PFF. We love PFF on Good Morning Football.